It's amazing humans can communicate at all given the roughly 6.5 thousand languages spoken in the world. It may be unsettling and perplexing when you arrive in a distant country and are unable to communicate with anyone, not even to read the signs. However, there is just one we all understand part of the body's language, and you can tell when someone is having a bad day a mile away. The two individuals sit with their arms crossed and avoid making eye contact. Our confidence can be read. Come learn what your body language reveals about you. Shyness and that person just means the restroom. And Sir Khan Brain Quest and can communicate with your body directly. All you have to do to show us that you care is try rubbing the subscribe button. Now, not too difficult. They claim that the eyes are the window to the soul, thus we're ticklish when we make eye contact. So, everybody who gives them a loving gaze is just a peeping Tom. Your eye's natural meeting point with another person's eye is a sign of your confidence, interest, and sincerity. It's regarded as one of the most crucial elements of a successful job interview. You won't likely be employed if you show there and merely gaze at the ground. If you're applying for a job as a floor technician, however, you'll be hired. But be careful not to push yourself too much. A harsh look is one thing if there is no eye contact. Though it's not always the case, it's very common in places like Eastern Europe for people to stare at you when you're using public transportation. They are not acting in a weird or aggressive manner, as one might presume in the UK or the US, and the male legs are acting reasonably normally. Our legs' primary function during much of the day is to get us from point A to point B and prevent us from falling off our chairs once more. However, when they're not bouncing along the sidewalk or crammed beneath a desk, they can reflect your male personality. Showing who's in command and letting everyone know who's in charge is the stereotypical male behavior. In most European and Asian countries, males generally stand with one leg crossed over while the other is pointed downward. This is not the case in the United States, where men are more likely to stand with both legs pointing downward. This is likely a sign of a closed nature. However, if one leg is horizontal and the ankle is lying over the knee, this is a bold and frequently combative position. A conceited yoga instructor who is attempting to explain, "Why should you avoid gluten? A leg spread," is relatively uncommon because it is impolite in many cultures, hence the majority of female leg positions feature the legs being together. Female leg position has undoubtedly been influenced by clothes. The more closed form, though, is when one foot wraps around the back of the other leg. There is still enough of variability in there. A study found that 88% of people lock their ankles when seated in a dentist chair for a single operation, which is referred to as an ankle lock, in both men and women and is an indication of repression or fear. The female power posture, which has both legs together in parallel and tilted slightly, was performed by 68% of people as a simple checkup. It demonstrates power and is frequently utilized in fashion modeling. Additionally, toying with hair gives ladies a mermaid-like appearance, and who wouldn't want that? Men rarely mess around with their hair. But given that you see many young boys doing it, running your hands through your hair, especially moving hair away from your face, is probably because you have a lot of it. Since you are expressing that you are pleased with your appearance, it is frequently interpreted as flirtatious and open. Tossing your head back and shaking out your hair is the most dramatic of them, but it may also make you appear as though you're trying out for a shampoo commercial, so messing with your hair is not necessarily a good sign. Though gripping your hair suggests insecurity and unease, be careful not to linger there for too long. A good A person curling their hair around a finger is a contrast. It may be done for flirtation or just to unwind. However, holding the hair in one hand while twirling it in the other creates a much more tense signal, like drumming fingers. We occasionally fidget in a variety of different ways. Numerous hair twists and flicks were previously discussed. Nail biting, head scratching, squirming, and a long list of other behaviors exist, but the most of them are unobtrusive since you wouldn't notice them unless you were looking directly at the individual. But finger drumming sends a clear and audible message. You frequently aren't aware that your impatience or frustration is being transmitted over the entire space. When there is stress or a long wait, you do it. For many people, it's subconscious, in which case it's a sign of nerve, to drum their fingertips on the desk or the table. It's also extremely usual to utilize an object like a pen or even the back of your phone. To put it briefly, your body is unsure of what to do with itself. However, more powerful individuals can use it deliberately to convey that they are dissatisfied with the current circumstance. Hands and arms. The most typical kind of body language is crossing your arms. No psychology degree is necessary to understand what it means. In fact, if you look closely at every kid's cartoon, a parent with their arms crossed is a warning of serious problems. It's probably one of the first significant signals that kids learn to read. However, the meaning is reversed if your arms are crossed behind your back. Shyness transforms into courage, angry feelings subside. Although this gesture probably indicates that you are being arrested if you have recently committed a crime. Positive hand gestures include rubbing your palms together, which communicates an expectation of success. Because you are displaying, holding your palms open and facing up increases your credibility. Nothing is concealed from you in them. Which way do you point your body? Your chest is essentially a large arrow when it comes to body language, inferring that your point of interest in a meeting is where you are pointing. Being leaned forward with the chest aiming down is an indication of being guarded, and somebody whose chest is pointed away from the meeting either is not interested or disagrees with what is being stated. If you're not making a commitment in any form, it's a sign of romanticism. People that get along well and are interested in one another are drawn to face one another, right? So if you're going to the movies, on the far armrest, they are slouching. Most likely, your story won't have a Hollywood happy ending. If you're at a party, it's easy to tell who is paying attention by watching where people's heads turn. However, people's bodies often give away who they are really interested in hearing by shaking hands. A simple handshake involves a lot of science. For persons from Asian cultures, where this form of body contact is very unusual, they may really be perplexing. The pressure, angle, and what you do with your other hands are just a few of the many variables that go into a handshake. Nobody appreciates a weak handshake that makes them feel like an old fish wriggling around. It suggests a lack of commitment and determination. Use your free hand. There are numerous vacancies available. In a two-handed shake, using it to cup the hands from underneath conveys sincerity and a desire for connection. However, cupping from above displays power because you are entangling their hand in your own. Shaking hands while holding the upper arm is also intended to demonstrate a cohesive knit, but now that politicians are associated with it, it has a slightly manufactured air to it. Lying is a skill that needs to be developed. We're not advocating that you work on your skills. However, if you want people to trust everything you stated about yourself on your resume, well, that's up to you. When you don't make eye contact, it's usually a hint that you're being dishonest. Your imagination, not your recollection, will be used. A dry mouth is another indication that you are lying, so keep an eye out for anyone who is licking their lips or swallowing. Interestingly, in ancient China they actually conducted an experiment to see who could successfully hold a handful of dried rice in their mouths for a short period of time. Whether it was still dry when they spat it out, they were accused of flirting lying. In an ideal world, you could approach anyone you considered beautiful and tell them you'd go out with them if they felt the same. If they don't, you simply say thank you and goodbye, but life isn't that simple. And because one individual likes the way another bird displays its bright feathers, we have invented a dance that is extraordinarily sophisticated. Lions rule over enticing terrain, and humans unintentionally thank many of them. Find genes without the frequent strategy of having cake spots on them. You see, one of the rules of flirting is to imitate the other person's posture or even mannerism, since it demonstrates that you are on the same page. Just be careful not to try to do this simultaneously, or it can end up seeming like a weird mirror dance. Keep in mind that body language can be readily misinterpreted, just like verbal language. To make things easy, always wear a t-shirt that matches your present attitude. Some people could cross the arms because they're cold rather than out of defensiveness. It has enormous lettering written on it. We sincerely hope you enjoyed our episode on body language and that you used some portion of your body to click and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.